दुःखालयं शाश्वतं नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः संसिद्धिं परमां गतः. Mam, me, upaitya, achieving, punaha, again, janma, birth, dukkha, alayam, place for miseries, sasvatam, temporary, na, never, abdavanti, attain, maha atmanaha, the great souls, samsiddhim, perfection, paramam, ultimate, gataha, having achieved. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation: after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries because they've attained the highest perfection. Okay, please repeat. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries because they've attained the highest perfection. Purport. Since this temporary material world is full of miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death, naturally he who achieves the highest perfection and attains the supreme planet, Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavana, does not wish to return. The supreme planet is described in Vedic literature as Avyakta and Akshara and Paramagati. In other words, that planet is beyond our material vision and it is inexplicable, but it is the highest goal, the destination for the Mahatmas, great souls. The Mahatmas receive transcendental messages from the realized devotees and thus gradually develop devotional service in Krishna consciousness and become so absorbed in transcendental service that they no longer desire elevation to any of the material planets, nor do they even want to be transferred to any spiritual planet. They want only Krishna and Krishna's association and nothing else. This is the highest perfection of life. This verse specifically mentions the personalist devotees of the Supreme Lord Krishna. The devotees in Krishna consciousness achieve the highest perfection of life. In other words, they are the Supreme Soul. So we'll see the translation again. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries because they've attained the highest perfection. So Krishna is speaking to Arjuna in this 8th chapter. And in this verse, he's qualifying the material world. Of course, he's saying two things here. First, he's saying that the devotees who attain me never come back here. And then he says that this material world which we are living in is dukkha alayam ashashvatam. It's filled with misery and it is temporary. So how many of us agree that this place is a place of misery? So everybody thinks it's sukhalayam. So this is the illusion that we are in. We think this material world is a place of happiness and we will live happily ever after. If you see any Disney cartoons, they will say happily ever after. But after that, nobody knows what happens next. There is no, somehow they got married and happily ever after. But then that's where the problem begins, right? So, but you must question one point. Why do we want to attain this happily ever after? Why? Why everybody is looking for happily ever after? Very simple. Because we are Jivatma, right? We are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is the Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so Krishna has three very important qualities. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Krishna is always eternal, Sat. Chit means he's full of knowledge, and Ananda means he's full of bliss and happiness. Whereas we are also, because part and parcel of Krishna, we are also having the same quality of Krishna. Just like when you take the ocean, if you just take one drop of the ocean water, you can understand the quality of the entire ocean because it's the same chemical composition, the H2O, right? And then there is salt. So we also have this quality of Sat Chit Ananda. We want to be living eternally. We want knowledge. We want happiness. So if you think about it, this is called happily ever after, because we want to be happy. We just don't want to. We just don't want to live only. We want to live happily. Nobody wants a life of eternity which is miserable, right? Anybody wants to live an eternal life with no happiness, right? So when they say happily ever after, everyone is indirectly searching for Satchit Ananda. That Satchit Ananda, Ishvara, Parama, Krishna, Satchit Ananda Vigraha. That person we are searching. In everything that we are searching in life, even our normal activities of, let's say we came back from work, we are very tired. What we do mostly, we'll sit down at home and scroll on Instagram, TikTok. Why? Because we think that by swiping up, we will feel some, we'll get some ananda, we'll get some rasa from this experience. But there is no rasa in this material world because it is dukkhalayam. It is temporary and is ashashvatam. It is miserable and it is temporary, right? So if we look at this sloka also, Krishna says, this is spoken by Lord Rishabdev actually. एवं मन कर्म संप्रयुक्ते अविद्ययात्मानि उपधीयमाने प्रीतिन्न यावन् मयि वासुदेव नामुच्यते देह योगेन तावत्. He says, when the living entity is covered by more of ignorance, he does not understand the individual being and the supreme living being, and his mind is subjected by fruitive activity. See, so this is the problem we are facing. Why we are not in the platform of Satchit Ananda? Because right now, we as the individual living being, we are covered with this ignorance, tamogun. We are covered with avidya. Avidya is covering our consciousness. And because we do not know who we are thinking we are this body, and we are trying our best to enjoy pleasure with this body and mind and senses. And all the experiences that we can achieve by this enjoyment is very limited. You know, if you see, the material world is full of competition. Why there is competition? Because there is limited seats. If you go to India, there is a job opening, but then there is 6,000 people waiting to apply for the job. Maybe only 100 people are getting the job. So because material world is limited, there is so much competition with everyone to get that same job, right? This is going up to heaven also. There is only one person who can be Indra now. There is big competition for Indra, for one person to be Indra, and everyone is wanting to be that Indra, right? And imagine the misery that you will face. Imagine you go through your exams, your NEET exam and all, and then you get disappointed because you don't make it. And then your parents, they'll give you one kind of look. They'll give you a disappointed look, why you failed that exam. So much pressure because we are thinking we are this body, we are these senses, we are the mind. An example is given. The cat is very, how does it carry the kitten? It will bite the kitten, it will carry, right? So, but the same mouth also of the cat bites the mouse. For the mouse, the mouth is very scary. For the kitten, the mouth is very loving, dear. Similarly, for example, you imagine we are also the kitten. Krishna is the cat. He's supposed to lift us. He's supposed to take care of us. He wants to take care of us. We are meant to be taken care by him. We are meant to take his shelter. But right now, because of covered with ignorance, we think we are now the rat. Because we misidentify ourselves, thinking we are the rat. When we see the cat coming towards us, we run away. What happens when the cat comes? The rat will run away, right? Similarly, because now Krishna is calling us every lifetime, life after life. You come, my dear child, please come back to home. Why you are suffering here? But because of covered with ignorance, we think we are the rat. We think, oh, this is dangerous. I cannot go temple. If I go temple, I'll get, I'll surrender here, and then I will lose my enjoyment. But actually, that is where you get the real enjoyment, when you come to Krishna. So we continue the verse. Therefore, until one has love for Lord Vasudev, who is none other than myself, Pritinna Yavan, Mai Vasudeva, he is certainly not delivered from having to accept a material body again and again. Na muchyate deha yogena tavat. Until we develop love for the Lord, for Krishna, until the love is developed, we will again come again, again. Right? Right now we are suffering in this material world because we are loving things which are temporary, and temporary things never hold, right? Temporary things cannot hold. So we are trying to make permanent happiness in a place which is impermanent, right? So the whole education of Bhagavad Dharma, the whole Sanatan Dharma purpose is to reawaken your self-realization, who you are. Understand who you are. You're not the rat, you're the cat, you're the kitten, and the Lord is coming. Krishna is coming. He's calling you with his flute, right? Many lifetimes he's calling you. You know, it is. For example, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says Krishna is a cowherd boy. He has more than 900,000 millions of cows actually. So there is 4 ways that he calls the cow. You know how he calls the cow? Number 1, by his flute. He'll play the flute. The cows will come. Number 2, he'll shout their names. He'll call their names. Number 3, he has that bugle horn. If you see the deity, he has that horn here, the bull horn. He'll blow this horn. The cows will come. Number 4, if they don't come, he has the stick also. So many lifetimes, Krishna is calling. He's calling us with his sweet voice. My dear child, please come back. What is his sweet voice? The Bhagavad Gita is his sweet voice. The Gita is the song of Krishna. Krishna is singing all these verses to Arjuna. For us only. Through Arjuna, we are getting Arjuna is acting like us. He's in ignorance. But to help us. So Krishna is giving the song of Gita, the song of Bhagavatam. So many beautiful poetry is written by great acharyas to remind us, if we study these slokas, we will be removed of the shokas. Right? But we are not coming. So Krishna is also playing his flute. Venu Madhuri. Who can play the flute like Krishna? Such beautiful, and that is like Kirtan. Through the Kirtan also, Sankirtan, he is calling us. Through the horn also, he is calling us. Sometimes, some warning happens in life. Some difficulties happen. We are not. Then we are more interested to come to temple, right? Finally, we are still not listening. The stick will come. He said, "You are not listening." Okay. Then some difficulty comes in life. It's not that Krishna wants to punish us. Unless there is perception of difficulties, we will not understand. We will think that we are, enjoying in this material world. You see, the mother is she always, my dear son, do whatever you want? Does she say that? Because the mother loves the son, my mother will say, you listen to what I tell you to do, because what I tell you to do is best for you. Sometimes she will show the stick to the son. So the son follows he follows the proper way of life. Right? So this is how sometimes the Lord, he creates, there are situations that happen like that. That we have to, when we have knowledge of Shastra only, we can understand, oh, this is warning for me. If not, most people, what happen, they will blame God. Oh, why he made me suffer now? When you are enjoying, you are not giving credit to him. When you are enjoying, you say, oh, it's because of me I'm successful in life. When something goes wrong, oh, it's God's fault. Right? So this mentality is not right. Because Krishna is the most merciful, Karuna. The greatest quality Krishna has is Karuna. He's so merciful that he wants to save all of us. Shri Vallabheti Varadeti Dhaya Pareti. Dhaya means mercy. Bhakta Priyeti Bhava Lutana Kovideti. Bhava Lutana means he steals. What does he steals? You have worked so hard day and night, life after life. You have accumulated mountains and mountains of sins. And when you come here and you just say Hari, oh Hari, that word Hari Hara iti papani, it will Bhava Lutana Kovideti. It will uproot all the sins that you have committed. Because of these sins, we are all suffering. Yeah, we are going through difficulties in life, not because of God's punishment to us. It's our own sins. But when you call out his name, Nateti Nagashaineti Jagannivasheti Alapinam Pratidinam Kurumam Mukunda. When you call out his name sincerely, then he will remove that distress, that misery that you are facing. It is said in Padyavali, Samsarambasi Sambrata Brahmabhare Gambhira Tapatraye Grahena Bhrigrihitam Ugragatina Kroshantamantar Bhayat Deeprenadya Sudarshanena Vibhuda Klanti Chitakharina Chintam Shantati Ruddam Uttara Hare Mat Chitta Dhantishwaram. So what is happening? This is verse 60 of Padyavali. Samsaram basi sambrita brahmabhare. We are all trapped in this samsara, this ocean of material suffering. Right? We have this Adi Atmik, Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik Klesha. What are these? Adi Atmik means miseries caused by myself. Adi Devik, miseries caused by Devatas. Adi Bhautik, miseries caused by other people. Right? We are trapped in this material samsara. Samsaram basi sambrita brahmabhare. And I'm totally Brahma. In illusion. I'm thinking this is very enjoyable for me, but I'm actually drinking poison, trying to enjoy this material world. Right? Gambhira tapatraye. Gambhira means very deep. We are deeply stuck in this tapatraya. There's three forms of misery. Adi Atmik, Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik. Grahena bigrihitam ugra gatina kroshantam antarbhayat. Grahena is the crocodile. So I'm trapped in this ocean and this crocodile of this family attachment. This illusion, lust, anger, greed, kama, krodha, moha, mada, matsarya. The crocodile is coming. Grahena bigrihitam ukra gadina. Ukra means very fierce. Kroshan is very fiercefully grabbing me, and I'm caught in this crocodile. This is actually a prayer of Gajendra. Summary of Gajendra prayer. Kroshantam antarbhayat. I am crying, shedding tears. Antarbhayat. I'm feeling so much of fear in my heart. Many times we may even wake up from the night time. After waking up morning, we suddenly wake up from a nightmare, feeling fearful. What is going to happen next? Right? So this is the prayer. Samsaram basi sambrita brahmabhare gambhira tapatre grahena bigrihitam ukra gatina kroshantam antirbhayat. So what is the prayer? What the devotee is praying? Deepre nadya sudarshanena vibhuda klanti chit akkarina. Oh my Lord, who is the carrier of the Sudarshan Chakra? Bhakta Paya Bhujanga Garuda Mani. Oh Lord, who you are the jewel riding on that Garuda. Your carrier of this Sudarshan, please. Klanti Chit Akharina. Please cut away my material misery. Chintam Santati Ruddam Uddara Hare Machitta Dantishwaram. My heart, which is feeling all this anxiety, this misery of this temporary material ocean, this material nature, please cut them into pieces. So this is a prayer of Gajendra, but it was summarized by a devotee in Padyavali. And exactly this is the same situation all of us are trapped in. Right? So these are the miserable conditions of life. So now everybody, can we agree that everyone is actually in the same page now? We are all in the same page. No matter who we are, whatever we maybe Indian, Chinese, Malay, whatever American, everyone is having this common factor of suffering. And you know what is the greatest suffering? The greatest suffering actually comes from material bondage. I'll show you this verse. In the 11th canto, Natasya bhavet klesho bandhaschanya prasangataha yoshit sangat yata pumsho yata satsangi sangataha. Of all kinds of suffering. So we're talking about suffering, material world, right? Of all kinds of suffering, the bondage arising from various attachments, none is greater than the suffering and bondage arising from attachment to women or from intimate contact with those attached to women. So suddenly, why women are being blamed here? Right? You might think like that. So the greatest suffering actually everyone feels is when we become attached to the opposite sex. Not only women to men to women. So Bhagavatam, it's actually not, this is not misogynistic, it's not sexist. If you go to another verse, I'll show you. Bhagavatam is equal to both. Because in what happens, in material love, both people suffer. Not only one person, right? Love is not one-sided. See, tamadmo, tamadmo vijaniyat, pati apatya grahatmaka, daivopasaditam mrityum mrigayor ghayanam yatha. A woman therefore should consider her husband, her house, her children to be the arrangement of the external energy of the Lord for her death, just as sweet singing of a hunter is for death. Hunter is death for a deer. So even the women is suffering, men is suffering. Why? Because we have, firstly, you have false identification of who you are. You think you are this material body, right? And then you have connection now with your spouse when you're a man or a woman, and then you think you're going to get happiness from another person who is also in illusion. We are neither men, we are neither women. We are actually Jivere Swarupahoy Krishnare Nityadas. So if the relationship is built on this kind of attachment, becomes very strong, heart-knotted, these heart-knotted desires in the heart, and then we get so much of difficulties in this combination, right? What happens? The husband gets very attached to the wife, he'll become woman in the next life, because what you think of, you'll become next. The wife becomes very attached to husband, become man in the next life. So like that, we keep going on, right? And of course, we think this is. So what is the solution then? We should be alone. We should be brahmachari. Yes, of course, if we can, brahmachari is good, right? But brahmachari life also not is easy, because it's also brahmachari ashram. Ashram means shrama. There is a hard work. Unless the brahmachari is connected to the supreme Brahman, he also will be feeling lonely in brahmachari ashram. He'll get difficulty. So grihastha. So after that, what we should do? Getting married also difficult. Some people will say, okay, I won't get married at all. I'll be alone. But they also feel a lot of loneliness, right? Like if you see the story of, what is his name? Pururava. You know Pururava? We'll show this verse. Pururava was a king. You know the whole Pandavas, the Chandra Vamsha, the lineage of the Chandra Vamsha is coming from Pururava. So Lord Krishna is in the Chandra Vamsha lineage, Pandavas, all this. So Pururava was a king, very handsome king, and one day there was this Apsara called Urvasi who was very attached to him. I mean, she was banished from heaven. So she came down, and then she saw him and she was attracted to him. He was also very attracted to her. They were totally in head over heels, you know, how the love movie goes, right? So then they decided, he proposed to her to marry her. They got married. But after a while, the Gandharvas, because Urvasi is from heavenly planet, the Gandharvas, she's Apsaras and Gandharvas are together, right? They didn't like that this heavenly woman is in connection with a man of earth. So there was something happened that they made them separate. And Pururava became so much depressed. He couldn't live. He cannot eat. He cannot sleep. He cannot forget that separation. You know. So he did so much of penance and austerity just to see her. He was worshipping the Lord. He's doing so many yajna to satisfy Vishnu just to have connection with her again. See, so how much suffering was happened. So he said this one verse is Ayo Jaya Tishta Tishta Aho Jaya Tishta Tishta Gore Na Tyaktum Arhasi Mam Tvam Adhyapi Anevritya Vachamsi Karanavahi. Oh my dear wife. So after a long time, he couldn't see her. One day he was in the river. I forgot what is the river. She came with the Gandharvas. Somehow he saw her. Immediately he ran to her and he says, "Oh my dear wife, oh most cruel one, kindly stay, kindly stay. Tishta, tishta. I know that I have never made you happy until now, but you should not give up. You should not give me up for that reason. This is not proper for you. Even if you have decided to give up my company, let's nonetheless talk for some time." So much of pain that Urvasi has caused him. But he still cannot give her up. And he said, "Please, let's talk for a while." See? So this Pururava from his lineage, like I said, comes to Chandra Vamsha. So why this kind of suffering happens? Right? This kind of misery, why this pain is happening? Separation. Because material world has 6 qualities. 6 kinds of changes happens in the material world. You know what are the 6 changes? It comes, I mean, There are 6 kinds of transformation that happens to your body also. It takes birth, it remains for some time, it grows, it produces some byproducts, it dwindles, and it dies. Not only your body goes through this, even a relationship goes through this. Today you may be with your wife, so much in love, you, right? You are, I am you, you are me. We are talking like this. After 2 years, I am I, you are you. Correct? Because why? Temporariness. 6 changes happens in everything in the material world. These 6 changes happens. So we cannot avoid this. So Krishna is saying today, no, dukkha alayam sasvatam. So what is the solution then? Okay. The solution is to come to the eternal. Come to the position where nothing, there is never change. And that is Krishna's lotus feet. If now I'm talking about all these things, it sounds very difficult. Oh my God. So my husband relationship with me, what's going to happen? My wife relationship, what's going to happen? If you all both become devotees, if you're connected to the Supreme Lord, who is never changing, He's Sachidananda, right? If you can identify yourself as part and parcel of Krishna, servant of Krishna, my wife is servant of Krishna, I am servant of Krishna, we together engage in the service of Krishna. Then what happens? We will overcome this material suffering. We will overcome this lust, the lust, discovering the heart. So there is one simple pastimes regarding this. We like to speak about the pastime of Yayati, King Yayati. So just now I was talking about King Pururava. In Pururava line, Pururava's son Nahusha, right? Nahusha, then Yayati. Yayati has 5 sons. Yayati's first son is Yadu. So the Yadava line comes from Yadu. The last son is, I think, Puru. From Puru's line comes the Kauravas. So anyway, we come to the story of Yayati now to explain this point. Yayati was a great king, right? He is coming after Pururava. So he was very much nice king, ruling nicely. But he, of course, he had some. So actually, if you want to talk about this story, it's a bit long. He had some very deep attachment to his wife. His wife's name is Devayani. Devayani is the daughter of Sukracharya. You know Sukracharya? Sukracharya is the guru of the demons. Brihaspati, guru of demigods. So Sukracharya had a wife, daughter called Devayani, very attached to him, right? So this Devayani also had a love story behind this. Devayani was living with her father. So Sukracharya has a very special power. What power he has? When the Devatas fight with the, what do you call that? When the Devatas fight with the demons mostly they lose. But Sukracharya has a mantra power where he can bring them back alive. Like a Sanjeevani mantra. Sanjeevani medicine, no? Hanuman was bringing. So that would revive the dead body. So like that, the demons were always getting revived. And the demigods wanted some help. They wanted some idea what to do now. So they sent this boy called Kacha. He's a Brahmana. He said, you go and serve Sukracharya, and that Sukracharya will, you give him menial service, and somehow you get the secret mantra from him. So Kacha was living as a menial servant for Sukracharya for 500 years. Very long time. Serving, not even asking anything. Somehow Kacha and Devayani had a very good attachment now. They fell in love with each other. I mean, she fell in love with him, he didn't. Right? So she was very attached to him. So one day what happened, the demons found out that Kacha has a plan to take this mantra. So what they did? The first thing they did was they killed him. They killed him. So then Devayani was crying so much. She was telling the father, I love him so much, please bring him back alive. So father was very attached to daughter. He said, okay, I'll bring alive. He got revived. Right? Second time again, the demons found out what happened. They chopped his body into pieces. They gave to the wolves to eat, and he was eaten by the dogs, I think. Yeah. Then again, Devayani is crying, please save my Right? Please save him. Then again, father chanted mantra. He came out from the body of the dog. Again revived. Third time they got even more angry. They said, okay, this guy is not dying easily. They pounded him and made him into like masala, okay, like powder. And they put the powder into the drink of Sukracharya. And now Sukracharya drank the drink, he went inside the stomach. So if Sukracharya chant the mantra, he will kill this guy. So the daughter is saying, please save him. He said, how will I save him? Because if I chant the mantra and bring him alive, I will die. He will tear my body apart. Correct? So then Kacha was in the body because the soul is still hovering around. He communicated with Sukracharya, says, you teach me the mantra, I will come out of your body and I will bring you back alive also. Sukracharya said, I cannot teach this mantra to anyone. Then, but the daughter was so attached, no choice. So finally, Kacha came out and he was revived and he had the power. Now he knows the mantra. And immediately he said, I'm going to demigods now. I'm going to Devata. Then Devayani said, I love you. I said, I don't love you, sorry. I'm not compatible with you. I'm not interested in you. So she was so heartbroken, he left. So this Devayani was going on. The father became, there was a great king, a great demon king who was ruling that time. I forgot his name. The father's name. So that king was ruling now, and he has a daughter called Sharmista. So Sharmista and Devayani now are friends because the king's daughter and also the Asura Kula Guru's daughter, they are friends, they are swimming, they are bathing. So one time what happened, Sharmista accidentally wore the wrong dress. She wore Devayani's dress. And now there was a mistake in the dress, the sari. And then they started fighting with each other very, very badly. And Sharmista started to offend. Sharmista saying, you are a beggar, you are Brahmana, you are begging from my father. My father is paying your father. You have no money. Right? So like that they were talking. Then she said, we are the Brahmanas. Without Brahmanas, what you will rule? Without my father, your father is nothing. So big fight was happening. Sharmista got so angry, she threw Devayani into the well. And then comes the hero Yayati. So Devayani doesn't have any clothes now because all torn apart in the fight. Yayati comes and then he gives his clothes, he rescues her. And Devayani said, now you have to accept the marriage because you saw me like that. So like that, Yayati became married and became attached to his wife. Right? Then after that, what happened? They get married. Right? So then what happened? But let's backtrack a bit. They came, then together both of them came to see the father. The father heard the story and the father was so angry with the king now. He said, how dare your daughter do this to my daughter? So they asked Devayani, what punishment you will give her? Devayani said, I want Sharmista to be my maid servant. Become my servant. Okay. So now she became a servant. From a princess, her life changed upside down. She became a servant of Devayani now. So they got married, both of them, but Sukracharya wanted to Yayati now. Oh, my dear Yayati, I know you are a Kshatriya. Sharmista also Kshatriya. Don't have any connection with her. So like that, he had children with Devayani, five sons. And somehow he had an affair and he got married with Sharmista secretly. And he also had a child with Sharmista. And Devayani comes and gets to know this, so angry, she curses, she tells her father again. Every time she goes to the father. The father got so angry, he cursed to Yayati that you become old now. Completely old age. So now he wants to enjoy his youth. He just got married, he got children and all. He is very upset that he is now in old age. So he spoke to his 5 sons, can you give me your youth? Actually, he asked for forgiveness. So Sukracharya says, anybody of your son can give the youth. We'll exchange. So he talked to all his sons, nobody was giving. Yadu, the first son, said, I cannot give. You know why Yadu never give? Because Yadu understood Krishna is coming soon in his dynasty. So if he becomes old now, there'll be a big delay in Krishna appearing. You know. So there is a Sri Vaishnava, there's Acharya. He says, just like how Lord Varaha came and uplifted the earth from Hiranyaksha, similarly, Yadu dynasty fell down because Yadu got cursed now. Yadu cannot become a king because he did not listen to his father. Right? So similarly, Krishna came to uplift that Yadu dynasty. Even Kunti Devi is saying, you came to the Yadu dynasty to uplift the dynasty which has been cursed. Right? So finally, the final son, Kuru, he says that Kuru says, I will take the old age. So in his dynasty only came the Kauravas. That's why they are the kings. Understand? So anyway, this is we'll come to the real point now. So finally, he became young. Then he was enjoying many years, and he was still not satisfied with his lusty desires. Thousands of years of enjoyment with his wife Devayani, and he was still very disappointed because there was no happiness coming in that enjoyment. Right? He says there, Kashayan nacha bhojanadi niyama nova vane vasato. Right? Uh, so so lust is very difficult to overcome. Lust is like the ghee. You keep pouring ghee into the fire. What will happen? The fire will grow bigger. So after thousands of years of enjoyment, there is no happiness. Right? So he says, Kashayanna chabhojanadi niyama no vavane vasato vakyanat atava munivrita bharas. So he says that even if you wear orange color, doesn't mean you overcome lust. Right? We'll see the verse. So nacha bhojanadi niyama. Maybe you're only eating 1 meal a day. Doesn't mean you overcome lust. Right? No vavane vasato. You may go to the forest and live. Doesn't mean you overcame lust. Saudbari Muni was meditating in the underwater. He got overcome by lust when he saw two fishes mating, right? Vakyanat atava muni vrata bharas chittod bhava kshiyate. You may speak, you may have so much of debates, you may know so much of verses, sastra. You may be a muni practicing silence. Chittod bhava kshiyate, but the lust in the heart never goes away. Then what is the solution? Kintu means but. Kintu spita kalinda saila tanaya tireshu vikridato. But if I understand the pastimes of Krishna, Shaila Tanaya, right? Krishna is in the bank of the Yamuna river. Tireshu vikriditam. If I know the playful pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan with the gopis, with the cowherd boys, then the last goes. How does it goes? Govindasya padara vrinda bhajana arambasya lesadapi. Govindasya padhara vrinda. The lotus feet of Govinda. Arambasya lesadapi. If you just little bit, bhajana, if you do bhajan of Govinda, if you do bhajan also means devotional service, bhajate, to serve. If you serve the Lord, you chant his name, you do devotional service, then the last chittod bhavakshiyate will go away. So like that, Yayati was not happy with his thousands of years. Then he was thinking what to do. Then he decided, okay, he told his son, thank you for giving me the youth. Now take it back. I will do austerity and penance. So both he and his wife did austerity and penance. And finally, in Mahabharata is mentioned, this is the point I'm making. He went all the way to heaven now. He got qualification to go to Indra Loka, Swarga Loka, right? And when he entered heavenly planet, Indra now is feeling very jealous. How come there's another guy coming here now? He's sitting with me like this. Who the hell he think he is? So Indra, so you see, even in the heavenly planet, there is no happiness. If you see this verse here, 11:10:21. That material happiness of which we hear, such as promotion to heavenly planets for celestial enjoyment, is just like that material happiness we have already experienced. Both are polluted by jealousy, envy, decay, and death. So Indra was jealous. Now Yayati did so much austerity, he's going to heaven, he's jealous. Right? Therefore, just as an attempt to raise crops become fruitless, if there are many problems like crop disease, insect plague, or drought, similarly, the attempt to attain material happiness either on earth or on heavenly planet is always fruitless because of innumerable obstacles. So after going to heavenly planet, Indra was talking to him, oh my dear Yayati, so how are you doing? Very nice to see you here. Can you tell me who is the greatest king in your kingdom? So Indra is talking to him and saying, tell me who is the greatest. So he don't want to tell a lie. He was a very great king. He said, let me stick to dharma. He said, I was the greatest. Oh, you're so proud of yourself. Now you lost your punya, get lost. So what we can understand, if we praise ourselves, we are losing our punya. If we want to praise ourselves, we are proud of our. So when he told to Indra that, I am the greatest king. Okay, then he kicked him out, and he was falling down upside down from heaven. This is in Mahabharata. You see, so if you go to the verse here, ते त्वं भुक्त स्वर्गलोकं विशालं क्षीणे पुण्य मृत्युलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रयी धर्मम् अनुप्रापना गतागतं काम काम लभन्ते. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the result of pious activities are exhausted, they return to the mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. So this is the result. Again, temporary. Dukkalem ashashvatam. When all the way to heaven, got kicked out by Indra. See? So Indra is like that. He doesn't want anyone to take his position. Right? So this is what what am I trying to say? This is what we are aiming for. If you go to this verse, Mukunda Mala is not in the. How do I search? This is it. Nate na purushotame trijagatam ekadipe chetasa sevye swasya padasya dātari pare narayane tishyati yam kanchit purushadama katipaye grameshamal partadam sevaye mrigayamahe naramaho mudavaraka. What is Kulashekar Alvar saying? He said, Nate na purushottame trijagatam ekadipe chetasa. Oh my Lord, you are the supreme controller. Nate na purushottama. You are of all the Purusha, you are the Uttama, the greatest of all Purushas. Trijagatam, you are the controller of these three worlds. Ekadipe chetasa. You are alone meant to be worshipped by all men, by all beings. Sevye swasya padasya dhatari pare narayane tishyati. Dhatari means he gives. If somebody just calls out his name, Hare Krishna, Hey Krishna, right? Govinda, Damodara, Madhaveti, right? If you just call out his name, what happens? He immediately gives you a place in his abode, Vaikuntha, a place which has no misery. Very easy, just call out his name. But we are not calling. We want to go to that heavenly planet and also get kicked out by Indra. Right? Working so hard to go to heaven, and Indra will just kick us out by asking some Q&A. Right? But that Lord who wants to give us his abode so easily to us, we don't want. He says, Yam kanchit purushadama katipaye gramesham alpartadam. So what we are doing? We are very interested in serving this gramesham alpartadam, these small village leaders. These village leaders in our time also, our bosses, our politicians, our president. Some small service I'm so happy I'm getting their service. But they cannot give any real happiness. Only that Supreme Lord Krishna can give that happiness. So we are very satisfied with this minor, small service. We don't want to serve the Lord. We don't engage our tongue. Sevan mukhya hi jivado. Swayameva hi spuratyada. We don't engage our tongue to chant the holy name of Krishna. And if you don't use your tongue to chant Krishna's name, we will be chanting the name of Virat Kohli, Shah Rukh Khan. Right? That's what will happen. These are all Purusha Adamas. We don't want the Purusha Uttama, we want the Purusha Adama. And they are rulers of these small gramas, Gramesham. So, Sevaye Mrigaya Mahe Naramaho Muda Varaka Vayam. So what is Kulashekar Alva saying? He's saying you are fool. Muda, Varaka. What else to say? You're getting somebody who's going to give you eternal life. You want temporary life in the material world of Dukalyam Ashashwatam. Right? From the Yayati story, we can understand this point. So we see the translation. Our master, the personality of God in Narayana, who alone rules the three worlds, whom one can serve in meditation, and who happily shares his personal domain, is manifest before us. Yet still, see this point, yet still we beg for the service of some minor lord of a few villages, some lowly man who can only meagerly reward us. Alas, what foolish wretches we are. Right? All Krishna is asking you in Kali Yuga, especially Sankirtana. Just chant the name Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. That's all the Lord is asking you. Yeah? But we don't want to chant. Then what will happen? We will again take repeated birth and death in this material world. But one who is a yogi in devotion, Prabhupada says that Mahatmana, the one who is Mahatmana, he knows that he has to chant this holy name of Krishna. He has to read the Bhagavad Gita. He has to engage in his mind and senses in glorifying the Lord. Then the real success of life comes. So this is the point I'm trying to make. Please take up this very rare human body we have, rare chance where we can chant the name of Krishna. Let's not be satisfied in just serving some small village heads. Yeah. If you go to the purport, a very nice story is here. It says here, we'll just conclude with this story. Okay, so in connection, Srila Prabhupada tells a story of a man whose burning desire was to serve the greatest person. The man was born into a small village where he became attracted to serving the village chief. So this man was serving the village chief. He was very happy in this capacity and tried to please the chief in many ways. But one day, a district governor visited the village and the servant came to understand that his local chief was also a servant of the governor. So now he realized that the person he's serving, there's somebody higher. He then asked to be transferred to the service of the greater master. The governor accepted him into his service, and the man again satisfied, trying to please his new master. But then he saw that the governor was paying taxes and offering obeisances to the king. The man who wanted to serve the greatest managed to transfer himself to the king's direct service. So now he became the servant of the king. Now he was completely satisfied, and the king treated him as a favorite servant. But one day the man saw that the king went off alone into the woods to worship and serve an ascetic. So now the king is going into the forest and he's serving somebody who is his guru. The king's servant later approached that guru and addressed him, "You must be the greatest person of all, because even the king serves you. Please let me be your servant." The ascetic replied that he himself was the lowly servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The perpetual servant then asked where he could find Krishna, and the guru directed him to the nearest Krishna temple. So you see the story, how he's he's trying to serve the highest, and only because he got connected to the spiritual master is showing him who is the highest person to serve. Without the guru's connection, there's no way we will understand this. And we serve the pure devotee of the Lord, then only we can attain the service of the Lord. We cannot just directly go and serve the Lord like that. So please read Prabhupada books. Understand how this whole science of devotional service to Krishna works. Every day read at least half an hour, 1 hour. Chant the holy name of Krishna. Transfer yourself from the service of small village lords to the greatest Lord. Then you will feel the real bliss, real happiness. You will come out of this temporary material world. Okay? So it's 8:30 now. We will stop here. Anyone has any questions? Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan. Anybody has any questions? Comments? Okay, we'll stop here then. Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. So please hold on. We'll